You've got about 9 minutes left in your lunch break. You're sitting in one of those cold concrete planters just outside the main doors of the office block, and you're just staring at the pavement between your shoes. The wrapper from your meal deal sandwich is crumpled up in your hand. It's not raining, but it's just one of those heavy grey afternoons where the sky feels about 10 feet above your head. People are walking right past you. Younger staff walk past, laughing about something. Delivery drivers go past on their e-bikes. Everyone moving. To them, you're just part of the street furniture. And you have this sudden strange thought. If you just stayed sitting on this concrete block for the rest of the day, nothing would change. The building behind you would keep humming. The emails would keep landing. Probably take until at least 3:30 for anyone to actually notice your desk was empty. It's not kind of exhaustion, isn't it? It's not the sort of tired where your muscles ache because you've spent the weekend digging over the garden. It's deeper. It's like your internal gears have just come apart. You're still doing everything you're supposed to do, but nothing inside you is actually moving anymore. Years ago, the day had a bit of a shape to it. You turned up, you sorted a problem, you went home, and you felt like you'd actually done something. Now there's no shape. It's just a queue, a conveyor belt of digital noise that resets itself every single morning at 8:30. You clear the inbox, you update the spreadsheet, you sit through the briefing, and the only reward for doing it well is that you get handed more of the same stuff tomorrow. You look at your watch, 3 minutes left. You stand up, brush the dust off your trousers, and walk back towards the automatic glass doors. And as they slide open, you feel that familiar tightening in your chest. It's just the system loading you back into its memory. Here's the thing we never talk about. It's not that the work is too hard. It's the opposite. You can do most of this with your eyes shut now, but it still demands every single drop of your attention. You haven't run out of capability. You just run out of the ability to care about things that don't matter. Look at the structure around you now. For over 30 years, we were told the whole point was progress. You climb a ladder, you get a slightly better title, maybe a tiny bump in your pension contribution. But when you look at the corporate landscape these days, the ladder's gone. You realise there's nowhere left to actually go. You sit in these hours long Teams calls, listening to people 20 years younger than you using words that sound like a completely foreign language to describe things that you were sorting out back in the 90s with a landline and a notepad. They talk about agile workflows and synergy, but when you look under the bonnet, the engine is exactly the same. It's just got a shiny new plastic cover on it now. And you realise your actual job description isn't what's written on your contract. Your real job is just to act as a shock absorber. You're the legacy component in the machine that keeps the whole thing from crashing. Because when the new systems fail, and let's face it, they always do, it's your institutional memory, the fact that you've seen the exact same mistakes repeated 3 times before under different names, that quietly fixes it behind the scenes. But nobody logs that on a spreadsheet. It's invisible. And running your brain in safe mode for years on end, it drains the battery until there's nothing left. It's not one big crisis that breaks a man. It's the repetition. It's the tiny little fractures that build up from years of pretending to care about things that stopped mattering to you a decade ago. And because you're reliable, you get hit with the efficiency tax. Because you don't make a scene, because you don't throw your toys out the pram, your workload slowly expands to fill the gaps left by people who quit or got managed out. You watch the organisation restructure itself every 18 months, shuffling the deck chairs, renaming the departments, changing the logos on the emails. Well, the actual job gets harder because the people at the top are managing data, not reality. You aren't cynical. Cynicism takes far too much energy. You're just observant. You've seen 3 different managing directors come through that revolving door. Every single one arrives with the exact same grand vision, and every single one fizzles out after a year when they realise that actually changing things requires more than a PowerPoint presentation with some stock images. So you learn to keep your head down. You become an expert in low profile compliance. You say the right phrases in the annual review. You tick the boxes on the online compliance modules. And you do your job properly because your own self respect won't let you do a botched job. But emotionally, checked out years ago. You're just renting them your time. When you get home, you don't want to talk about it. Your partner's had their own day, or the house is quiet, or Well, the kids are dealing with their own stuff. If you start trying to explain how a specific conversation about an Excel spreadsheet made you want to walk out of the building and never come back, you just sound ungrateful. You sound like you're having some cliche midlife crisis. But it's not a crisis, it's just an inventory. When you're 25, the horizon looks endless. You think you're writing the first chapter of some massive book. But when you pass 50, you can see the end of the runway. You know exactly how many working years you've got left. If you sit down and do the math, you can figure out the rough number of Mondays remaining between now and retirement. It's a finite number. It's a small number. And when you look at that number, everything shifts. You stop asking, how do I get ahead? You start asking, what exactly am I trading my remaining life for? The modern workplace is designed to make you feel isolated in that thought. It wants you to think it's a personal failing. That if you just downloaded a mindfulness app or went for a run, you'd suddenly feel enthusiastic about the quarterly strategy review on Thursday. But that explanation never quite fits, does it? It's not a personal failing. You don't really buy into it anymore, but you're still there every day doing it. Tomorrow morning, the alarm will go off at the same time. The coffee machine will make the same noise. You'll sit at the same desk, look at the same blue light from the monitor, and log into the same systems. Nothing's going to change tomorrow. But once you've seen the pattern properly, it becomes very difficult to unsee it.